Alright, so moving on to our next Patreon request of the day, and this one comes from John McKinney, who asked me to do a Proud Family Fantastic Four crossover. As always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the third tier. That'll allow you access to send me requests for videos to here on YouTube, as well as check out all the stuff from the other tiers as well. But other than that, let's get started with the video. This one's going to be interesting because I'm going to have to try to finagle something. Anyway, so the story begins with basically Penny's school has gotten a field trip to basically the one place that everyone who's ever heard of a superhero wants to go. And like some of them thinking, oh, the X Mansion or like Avengers Tower, you know, Avengers Mansion or something like that. And they're like, no, the Baxter Building. And they're like, all right, that's a solid choice. So yes, it is a special day to go to the Baxter so Penny and her class are having a field trip to the Baxter Building, and deep down Penny's like kind of like cool, like excited about it. Some of her friends are just like, it's just a big building, and they're like, and she's like, are you guys insane? It's the home of the Fantastic Four. Like, these guys were like the first superheroes to show up after Captain America, and it's kind of cool. And not only that, like, she also brought, or should I say coerced, her dad Oscar as a chaperone, and Oscar is there, and he's just like, oh, a bunch of rich white folk, getting the fancy building. I'd like to see them to give me a building. I'd like to see the city give me a whole ass tower, But however, while this is going on, up in the upper levels of the Baxter Building, Reed is working on a new experiment. Go figure. And Sue calls Reed and is like, Reed, the school is here, the kids are here, and he's like, kids? No, the kids are here. Like Richard and Valeria are here. Franklin and Franklin and Valeria are here. Why are we talking about kids? And Sue's like, oh my God, for the smartest man on the planet and the smartest man in the multiverse, you tend to forget a lot of things. And she goes, don't you remember we were opening our doors to people again to showcase, to give them a tour of the Baxter Building? And he's like, oh, well, I mean, Ben and Johnny can do that. They're good. And they're like, no, Reed, you said you would do it. You said you would give them, the field, give them a tour of the Baxter Building. And he's like, I did? Yes, you did. Oh. I'm not getting out of this, am I? No, you're not. So Reed goes down there, and Reed is like, addresses the children. He's like, hi, greetings everyone. I am, of course, Reed Richards. You know me as Mr. Fantastic, leader of the Fantastic Four. And welcome to my home, the Baxter Building, where myself and my family, it's not just our home, it's our base, as well as, the first line of defense for all of mankind. But I like to think of it as like a home, not just first line of defense for Earth, but like it's also it's a home. Like, I think of it as a base second and a home first. This is where my family lives. This is where we eat together. This is where I married my wife, all of that. And I can't wait to show you my home. And that's when they hear a voice go, hey, Reed, Doc! And it's Johnny running flying by just at super speed, because he just pulled another prank on Ben, and Ben's looking to get some, some payback. So while this is going on, Sue is just tending to Reed's experiment, because he has hey, I'll take care of it. Can you just watch over this real fast? So she's checking over, Reed's experiment, and that's when the computers start going off on their own, and she's like, that's not a good sign. Herbie, can you help? So Herbie comes in and is like, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I can't do that, Miss Richards. And she's like, uh-oh. So immediately she knows what's about to happen. So Herbie suddenly blasts Sue. She puts up a force field, and immediately, right after Herbie tries to attack her, all the systems in the base start going haywire, and someone has infected the Baxter building with a virus. So everything in the Baxter building has now gone completely haywire. And as you can imagine, someone very intelligent did this, and they couldn't help but put their mark on it, because what happens is the virus kind of going through, it's called Gestalt, and it's kind of like destroying technology, destroying Reed's data, and also rewriting it. And not only that, it's also turning the entire Baxter building into a giant death trap. And of course, the person behind it is Doom. Like, Doom even announces himself through the, puts himself on a screen. He's like, greetings, Richards. I see you're having some trouble at home. No part in small of mine, Dr. Doom. And he's like, God damn it, Victor, why? So, of course, Penny, her friends, Oscar, all of them are caught in the middle of this. And even Reed's like, look, Reed, look, Victor, can you, let them go, let these people go, and you want us. You don't want to hurt anyone else. And he's like, it'll be nice to have an audience to you and the rest of the Fantastic Four's funeral. Farewell, Richards. And he goes. And he's like, God damn it. All right, kids, you got to stay with me. I will. And Reed basically has to navigate with Penny and Oscar and the rest of everyone else as they're trying to duck, dodge, weave, and dodge. I think I messed up that quote. Through everything in the Baxter, as the Baxter building is just going haywire left and right. Meanwhile, Sue is in the middle of battling Herbie, and it gets to the point where she's like, I'm sorry, Herbie. I swear we'll rebuild you after this. And then uses her ability to create barriers, makes a bubble around Herbie, and just crushes him. And it's just like, I'm so sorry, Herbie. I swear to God, we will rebuild you after this. She hooks up with Ben and Johnny, who also have been fighting corrupted robots and the security measures inside the building. And they're like, well, where's Reed? He's like, Reed's with that school. With that field trip class. We gotta find Reed. He's the only one who could probably override Doom's, tampering with our systems. So meanwhile, back with Reed, he's trying to get all these kids to safety. He's basically fighting through all the security measures, all the security robots, everything that this Gestalt virus did to devastate the Baxter building systems. Oscar on the other hand, excuse me, sorry, I got distracted for a second. Oscar on the other hand is just like, why don't we just turn it off and turn it back on again? That's what I do with my computers. And he's like, Mr. Proud, I appreciate your input, but this is much more this is much more complicated systems than just a simple laptop. And he's like, no, it ain't. So literally, Oscar goes over to the main computer system, switches it off, and turns it back on, and actually purges the virus from the Baxter building. And Reed is just sitting there like, it can't have been that easy. There's no way it could have. It was supposed to be that easy. And sure enough, it wasn't, because the virus just jumped over to another. It's just like, Doom was like, yeah, and in the off chance that you were going to do something as simple as, just turning it off and turning it back on, I literally had the virus, could just jump to random buildings. So the whole thing goes to the Fantastic Four trying to locate where the virus went. And funny enough, it went right from. Then they're like, well, where could it have gone? It's a virus; it could have gone anywhere. It goes right to the Proud family house, because Doom was like, that asshole figured it out. I'm gonna fuck over his family, and make an example of him. Make an example of a mockery to Doom. So the Proud family house goes completely insane, and Sugar Mama is just there with her. She's fighting appliances, because this is how ridiculous we're going to get now. She's just fighting appliances left and right with one of her sandals, and trying to keep the babies safe as well, and Trudy. And eventually, the Fantastic Four arrive in the Fantastic Car with Oscar and Penny there as well. They get the family out, and they're like, well, how do we purge a whole virus out of a house? We can't just turn everything back on. He's like, Oscar's like, fuse box. And he's trying to remember which one is his, because he's got multiple fuses that are connected to the buildings across the house, and Ben is just like, excuse me, I know what to do now. And he's like, what's that? It's clobbering time, and just smashes the whole fuse box, the entire area. And Reed is just like, Ben, we're gonna have to talk about your masonry. We're gonna have to talk about your technical skills. And he's like, why have technical skills when you can punch it? So by the end of it, the Fantastic Four, Reed actually fixes everything. He gets the power back on the entire block. The virus this time, Reed manages to contain it when it tries to jump again. And Andy's thinking, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with a virus that becomes more and more sentient and can mess with anyone's control? And Penny's like, I got an idea. So Penny literally convinces Reed, why don't you send it back to Latveria, and proceeds to just terrorize Doctor Doom's castle. Anyway, so that's how it ends. Just utter ridiculousness by the end of it. So there you go, guys. That is the Fantastic Four Proud Family crossover. This one was kind of hard because I was like, how am I going to do this? It's hard to make it so the Proud Family can be relevant in the story. That's the best I got. But anyway, once again, I'd like to thank John McKinney for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. And you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this crossover? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. If you, like I said, if you want to have a Patreon done, just hit the link below, head on from there. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.